Hey, what's happening? Chris Martinez here, host of Operation Agency Freedom. Today, I'm going to kind of go on a rant. I want to absolutely kill the term virtual assistant. It drives me freaking crazy. I'll explain to you why in the episode, of course. But here's the thing. It's like if you are trying to find a quote unquote virtual assistant and you can't seem to find one, or you're hiring virtual assistants and they keep letting you down, or they're not like adapting or learning the things that you want to do, this is absolutely the episode for you. And part of the reason is that for some, I don't know how this happened, but somehow the term virtual assistant kind of meant anybody who's like in a different part of the world. And the expectation is that these are like magical human beings who just can do anything, right? Just because they're virtual assistants. It's the stupidest thing on earth. So today I'm going to talk about that. And hopefully after you listen to this episode, you'll stop using that term virtual assistant. Or if you do use it, you'll use it properly. And then your life is going to be so much better. I promise you, like the sky is going to be bluer. The grass is going to be greener on your side of the lawn. The sun is going to be sunnier and warmer, especially if you're in the Midwest. And then at the end of this episode, of course, go to the website, check out the show notes, and subscribe. Because when you subscribe, you get the notification of all the new episodes. Everybody wins. So let's head over to the episode so I can blow your mind with how much I hate the term virtual assistant. All right, guys, we're back. Welcome. You know what? I'm wondering if in my old age, because I did turn 42 a couple weeks ago, if I'm just getting grouchier. But this has been on my mind and this has been bothering me for a long time. I am so tired of the way that people use the term virtual assistant. I don't know how this happened or who started it, but there's a lot of people out there that think that virtual assistant pretty much means anybody in a foreign land who can do anything that you want them to do, right? That somehow outside of the United States, they're producing human beings that have magical superpowers and are talented at everything. Like you need ads, you need ad copy written, virtual assistant. You need administrative tasks done, virtual assistant. You need websites done, virtual assistant. You need operations and SOPs like mapped out, virtual assistant. And unfortunately, what I see happening is that one, agencies are hiring people who are completely unqualified to do these tasks. And then, of course, they get frustrated. They have to fire the person after wasting a lot of time and money. And then, sometimes they're like, people overseas suck. And then the second problem is that people have unrealistic expectations as to what people in other countries can do. People in other countries are pretty darn similar to people in the United States. I am an American, grew up in the United States. I understand how Americans are. Like the skill sets that we have in the United States are pretty much the same skill sets that you find in human beings anywhere in the world. Because of that, there are some people that are trained and qualified to do and talented at doing design, for example. Just like in the United States, like an artist is going to be an artist. And if they don't have the skill set to be an engineer, for example, or a finance person, they're never going to be good at it. And like a developer is going to be a developer. If they're trained, if they're qualified, if they're good at it, if they love it, that's going to be their thing. You'll never train a developer to write copy. The brain just doesn't work like that. Like if you're on a webinar, for example, and I know some people are like, you can just go hire a VA. Okay. Like it totally minimizes the challenges of just finding good people. Like just because they're in another country doesn't magically make them more qualified or less qualified. You just need to find good people. Where they live doesn't really matter at all. You still need to have the same evaluation techniques, and those techniques are applicable no matter where the person is located. So if you hear this term virtual assistant, you need to first identify what are they actually going to do. They're virtual and they're assisting me, but they're not actually a virtual assistant. Like you might need a designer, right? So like, let's say you need somebody to go into Canva and make pretty social media graphics. You need a designer. You don't need a virtual assistant. They are assisting you and they happen to be virtual, but they are not a virtual assistant. You might need somebody to help you organize your tasks, right? You need an actual assistant. So you might need an executive assistant, and they're going to be skilled at doing those types of tasks, but that person is not a virtual assistant. They are an executive assistant who happens to work remotely. Another thing is, I'm hearing this more often too, it drives me crazy, is you need somebody to go out and do sales tasks, like building lists or doing cold outreach, or maybe like getting you on a podcast, reaching out to a bunch of podcast people. If they're doing sales tasks, you have a sales assistant who happens to work remotely or virtually, right? If they're doing marketing tasks, let's say building a list, right? They're building a database of potential clients. That's a marketing assistant. If you put in your job post, I need a virtual assistant, you're going to get a ton of unqualified people. You need to be very specific as the type of person that you need. And 99 times out of 100, it's not a virtual assistant, because a virtual assistant doesn't mean jack shit. Like, it's like the worst possible classification for a team member. Like, I can't stand that term. I have to tell you guys about this. So let's talk about the proper ways to do it then. Okay. So like, first of all, I want you to obviously, hopefully you picked this up already. I want you to completely erase the term virtual assistant from your vocabulary. And here's one of the reasons why. Like, there's a thing called COVID that happened March 2020. I don't know if you guys remember this or not. And what happened after that? Everybody had to start working remotely. So in a sense, we all kind of became virtual assistants. We were all working remotely. None of us can meet in person. Oftentimes we ended up hiring people all over the place. Or like, if you were fortunate enough to do this, if you were living in a crappy, way overpriced downtown somewhere, New York City, you're like, well, they ain't calling me into the office anyways. I'm getting the fuck out of Dodge. And you move to a beach town where you can enjoy life, So you became a virtual assistant. So the point is that, like, virtual assistants don't exist anymore. Like, when COVID hit and we all went virtual, we all became virtual assistants. If everybody's a virtual assistant, nobody is a virtual assistant. I want you to replace that term. And on top of that, like the term outsourcing, I want you to replace these terms, those two terms, with remote team member. Nobody's outsourced. Nobody's a virtual assistant. Everybody is a remote team member. And like, for me as an owner, and I have close to 100 employees, team members, I should say, like, I don't care where you live. We have certain requirements. Okay. One, you have to work our time zone. So we're Pacific time, 8 to 5 Pacific. You have to work Pacific hours. That's a non-negotiable. I don't care where you are, but you have to be on our time, because game time is between 8 and 5 Pacific time. So you have to show up for game time. Otherwise you don't get to play. The second one is you have to be a good person, right? You have to be willing to sacrifice for your team members and the clients. And we have processes to find these people. Unfortunately, it's actually kind of hard to find people like that, but we can find them, right? Those are like the two main requirements. Where you live has, like, I don't care. I don't care if you live on Mars. As long as you can show up, do the work, you're qualified, and you are a great person, then I don't give a shit where you live. You can be in the Philippines, you can be in India, you can be in Mexico, you can be in Venezuela, you can be in Russia, like you can be in North Korea. I don't give a shit. So remote, where you live, makes no difference. Just do the work, contribute to the team, be a great human. So anyways, that's the point. It's like, everybody is remote. It makes no difference where you are. There are no virtual assistants. So when you are looking for a remote team member, you need to be very specific about the type of remote team member that you would like or that you need. Like, just like you wouldn't go to Craigslist, for example, and run an ad and just say, hiring anybody with the face. Like, imagine the idiots that are going to apply to that. When you say, like, I need a virtual assistant in a job post, essentially you're saying that same thing. Like, I need a person with a mouth and fingers. You need to be very, very specific. If you're hiring remote team members, you need to have the same standards of the job post than you would when you're hiring somebody in the US. So it needs to say in the headline of the job post, sales assistant needed for data mining or whatever, marketing assistant that should be. Sales assistant needed for cold outreach and lead generation. Graphic designer needed for Canva social media graphics. Just put in the job post in the title exactly who you need. And then in parentheses, you can put remote okay or something like that. Like location doesn't matter. Work from home, And then once you have that in the job description itself, this is kind of where people get hung up. I don't know how they get hung up on this, but you need to list out exactly what they're going to do, right? You need to say, you must have these skills. These are the activities you're going to be doing. This is about our company. This is what we do. This is our mission, right? We use that to try and sell them on wanting to work with us. And then you just list out specifically the tasks that they're going to be doing and the skill sets that they need to be able to do that. It's very, very basic. Now, if you suck at writing job posts like I do, go to Indeed, type in the type of person that you need, find a job post that's similar, and then just copy that shit. Put it into a Google Doc, edit it, and now you have one that's 100% customized for your agency. It's really, really simple. It does not take that long. If you use that method, you can have, endless numbers of job posts created in less than a day. And then maybe you could hire an executive assistant or an HR assistant who can then take that process and follow it and then probably make it better. And then they can create your job post for you. That is the key, guys. You have to be specific and essentially have the same standard for your remote team members than you do as your in-house staff. If you do that and you go out and you say these are the types of people I need in the Philippines or wherever, you will end up finding good people. There are amazing people out there right now. This is the best part about when everybody went remote is that it opened the doors to people that we didn't even know existed. I have team members in Brazil, Ecuador, I think Chile, I think Uruguay too. I don't even know at this point. I had no idea that, we could find people there. I kind of had a hunch, but, at the time we had all of our staff in Tijuana, Mexico. We could see them. We could meet them every day. We thought that was the only way that we could operate. And then when everybody went remote and the company started thriving and we're like, hey, we're kind of running out of people here in TJ. I wonder if we can start looking other places in Mexico. Boom, we started hiring people everywhere. Guadalajara, Mexico City, Torreon, Ixtapa, Querétaro, where else? Hermosillo, I think too. I don't think we have anybody in Monterrey. That's the one big city. I don't think we have anybody in. But we started finding all these amazing people that we didn't even know existed. And we thought, okay, well, I wonder if we can find people in other countries too, in Latin America. One of our favorite team members that we have is in Pakistan. It's amazing. Najmul, if you're listening, shout out. You are freaking amazing. And he works our time zone too, which is even better. So there's people all over the place. The South America team, we didn't even think that we could find people there. And then we ended up finding them. So you as an owner have a huge advantage. If you're struggling to find people in the US, don't let that hinder you from growing your agency. You can absolutely find people, amazing people who are going to work their asses off. And I think this is one of the best parts about working with people overseas. I love Americans. I love being an American, but goddamn, we got some fucking problems, guys. We got some major attitude problems. The entitlement in the United States is unbelievable. And all that's doing is opening up opportunities for other people. And so here's the thing, we have a program where we assign our Mexican staff to American agencies. So we handle all the administration stuff. We handle the payroll. We do all this stuff, all the non-fun stuff, basically that a staffing agency would handle. We cover all that for our Mexican staff. And then we dedicate that individual to an American agency. The biggest difference between staffing a Mexican citizen to an American agency and an American citizen to an American agency, at least right now, is that the American team member looks at that American agency as a stepping stone. They think, oh, I'm just going to, hang out here for a little bit, gets a little bit more experience. I'm going to continue to apply to Google and Amazon or some other big, agency, Day, whatever. And then once they call, I'm bailing, right? They see your agency, your small agency, as the stepping stone. They're just looking for the next opportunity. Whereas our Mexican staff, and this is probably true of anybody, anywhere else in the world, but our Mexican staff look at that agency, that small agency that everybody in the United States sees as a stepping stone. They see that agency as the dream job. They get to work with this amazing American company. They get to meet and interact with people that they never interacted with before. They're working on projects and working with clients that they never had an opportunity to work with before. I mean, this is the dream. Wouldn't it be nice if all of your staff looked at your company and they were all looking at you as the dream job? I'm sure some do, but I guarantee you not all of them do. This is like one of the benefits of hiring remote team members in other countries. You don't have to sell them on the fact that they should be excited to work with you. Like these remote people, they come to you and they're like, I've made it. Like you've got this 10 to 20 person agency in the United States. You're doing a couple $1 million a year in revenue. You're working with, these medium and enterprise companies. These remote team members are like, oh my God, I can't believe I get to work on a campaign with this big company. You know what I mean? Like it makes your life so much easier when you have people who actually want to be there. Getting back to the original thing, just kill the virtual assistant term. Like virtual assistants don't exist. It's a made up pipe dream that somebody came up with probably to try and sell some bullshit course. You're looking for a remote team member and you're looking for a very specific type of remote team member. So be very specific when you're doing your recruiting. Make sure that the job post headline is descriptive of who you need. Make sure that the job post itself is at the same standard that you would have for somebody in the United States. Even if it's a lower level or like an entry level position, be very specific as to the activities that you want or that individual is going to be fulfilling. And then you'll be attracting people that actually understand what the fuck they're supposed to do. And then as you're evaluating them too, you'll be like, okay, tell me about your experience with X, Y, and Z. If they don't have any experience, guess what? Don't hire that person. You can find somebody else. You will get better people and they will make your life better. And you'll end up buying back your time. You'll end up building that agency, that dream life that you always wanted. And you will actually be able to work from the beach at some point. All right, guys, that's it for today. You have your marching orders. No use of the term virtual assistant ever again. Thank you for listening. I owe you guys a bunch of tacos for listening to my rant, but I promise you this is also very, very helpful. This will help your agency. I'll see you on the next episode. Have a wonderful day. Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, it would mean so much to me if you could share it with your friends, family, and basically anyone who will find the same value in this episode that you did. And to get the latest from me, then let's definitely connect on social media. You can go to Facebook, facebook.com/Dude Agency, or Instagram @dudeagency.io, or you can check us out on YouTube on our YouTube channel. And then, of course, you can always visit our website at dudeagency.io, where you can see all of our other episodes of Operation Agency Freedom. You can also register for any live trainings that we have going on how to run a highly profitable agency. And of course, you can see how we help digital agencies with the people, the processes, and the education so that they can take on more projects and scale profitably. Thanks again, and I will see you next time.